early on, but they're going to have the Valkyrie as well, which now they're using. They're going to have the duplicate and the pulse bomb, so I think this is very winnable for St. John's.
100%. This might be a 99-99 situation faster than the University of Delaware would like to see it. Not willing to let this Roadhog go. That's Rich and company getting another pick on the University of Delaware. So St. John's is going to be at, what, 94 or so before Savix is actually walking back?
Yeah, now they're going to sell Overwatch to Wrecking Ball. So again, all they have is that Visor. They might be able to build up Nate's Pulse Bomb, but that's such a hit or miss ultimate. I think it comes down to if ITG and Mr. Coleman can get their tank ultimates up as well. The duplate's going to be great. Fiscal's going to die. And I don't know. This is so back and forth here.
Several changes, trades now as Rich deciding the Soldier 76. That's just a tall order to try and take out a full ball, but dedicates the whole thing to it, finds a lot of value. Shots coming out, and that's a little bit more of an even matchup. Long range shots against the Tracer. Not able to land the last few though. This is University of Delaware, what, 3/4 of progress on this as Nate does fall in the back. Fighting to get back. This is the University of Delaware. Savix is really the only one with really like solid movement capabilities except for the infinite sprint by Milk, and that's the swap now. Savix getting it done up top, and both the healing players from the side of St. John's done now. We've seen sustainability throughout this, but that always came off the back of healers, and just like that, University of Delaware takes now 199 where it was a 99-0.
That was insane. That was incredible. St. John's so close to bringing it back. Just a few misplays, a few overcommitments on ultimates in the previous fight before the last one. I think if they'd held on to one or two more ultimates, especially that Valkyrie, they would have been in a much better situation. But regardless, it is going to be Delaware getting that first point, and we're going to see the Zarya Wrecking Ball coming out from Delaware. And I'm going to be honest, from what I've seen so far on all levels of play, I don't think it's a great comp. I think Zarya can really struggle, because if she isn't actually engaging like the rest of her team, she can't build up charge or ultimate, and she doesn't have much range. However, the one advantage that Zarya has here versus other maps is because of the layout of the point. You're almost always fighting on it or in close quarters, minus, you know, the Widowmakers that are going to be existing. So perhaps this is the best place that we can see it from Delaware, but if not, it's something they got to swap off of really quickly.
Nate coming out and trying. I'm not against this. It just kind of seems like University of Delaware has like a not a main focus here. Using that grappling hook to get onto main, and that is exactly what is required of the Doctors. So they'll be following as well as University of Delaware looking pretty solid to begin off with. Like they got in damage edge-wise, long range-wise, and more. And it just seems like maybe the split focus here is exactly what they needed.
Yeah, I think the idea from Rich and Slurpee is, you know, if we fly into this Widow's face, that the Widowmaker will be pressured out, but Nate going to be standing still, and, you know, they say as a quarterback, you know, in the pocket, not caving under pressure, was able to get some help from their Mercy. Pod flies over, able to find some good shots there, and now they might be able to take out the Tracer after they hit the Venom Mines. They are, so this is really good right now for Delaware. They keep trying to test Nate. It's not working out, and in the meantime, Melk is already 11% away from that ultimate, so this Echo is doing so much work while all their focus is on the Widowmaker.
Yeah, you can definitely draw a comparison here between Milk and counterpart. Rich barely past halfway, Milk now with it. 33, 35% or so for the side of University of Delaware. Now pulling this, yes, they didn't get any picks early, but maybe a little bit early as Qualaman takes a whole lot of damage themselves. ITG now facing a lot of damage himself. Stuns and more coming against our Milk Roadhog for the time being. There's the whole hog. Gets something going against the ball. Probably will be able to get back up from that. Does. There you go. Lots of players falling on the side of St. John's. So while we're kind of spectating this Milk player, not only did St. John's take point, but they've lost the amount of players. Okay, never mind. Rich completely flipped script on this.
Yeah, they got the point, but how long can they hold it? As you said, they did lose a lot of members early on in the fight, so it's really going to be up to Mr. Qualaman to try to stay alive as long as possible. They have the mines, so they could just try to commit that on point. You see the rally right now coming out from Lean Lizard, so this is not only holdable, it's winnable.
100%. Savix a little bit closer on there, and the University of Delaware will be able to get a lot done on this next, but looking at St. John's, Roadhog, Fiscal's got the Tracer Bomb. Tracer Bombs come like the win, though. This is Rich again with another nice little two-piece at the end. Done a fantastic job. Talk to me about this Echo performances.
Yeah, I think Rich got about 6 kills in that fight. A very long fight nonetheless, but picked the Widow at the very beginning, then able to find a few picks, including that last one at the end. So at first it seems like Rich was losing that battle against Nate, but now they've really picked things up. I think the biggest issue right now is taking Milk out of the sky. You don't really have to focus on the Widowmaker because you got Mr. Qualman who can just dive them like that.
Beautiful stuff. I think a little bit of assistance from that fellow Echo, but even so, getting it done, that's all that matters. It's been a super back and forth game. There's the res. Pod has had no trouble, really all the Mercies in this matchup so far have not really had troubles getting reses so far.
Yeah, I feel like we've gotten a lot of reses because there hasn't been pressure. There's going to be a trade. The question is there going to be any resurrections up? And Slurpee dies after resing Rich.
A lot of ultimates committed here. Whole hog by ITG, little grab action from Authority. Nice pull, but probably would have preferred somebody else given that Zenyatta's already very, very low. Now ITG just pushing right in the middle of mines, not going to go well for them. Big hitbox will eat up a lot of those as St. John's losing this point. University of Delaware working on from 52 now up to 57, where St. John's in the 92.
Yeah, so St. John's wins this next fight. It's game over. However, they don't have enough ultimates, I think, to outright win the fight, especially when they're going against Pod's Valkyrie. So I think if they're smart here, they take the engagement, but they don't give too much. They just try to waste a little bit more time before going for a full thing. If they can find an opening pick, maybe that's when you hit the go button. They have mines as well as a duplicate, but as you see, it's going to be the duplicate coming out from Milk first.
There's the pick onto the Wrecking Ball. Milk looking to have two of those. The side of University of Delaware. Instantly, St. John's pulls back. Not a bad idea, and there's a big pull. Not going to be enough to take out that big old 600 hitbox, but still, St. John's pulling back for the time being. It was a perfect decision. A little bit of progress here, 95-96. Rich now choosing the Zarya. That's it. Now another big grab from the side, and that might actually be enough to keep these players out from contesting the bubble and barely getting there just in the nick of time. A lot of University of Delaware members are following, and this is looking like St. John's will be cleaning up this and pushing on to the third control map.
It does indeed, and if you did not see the Vincentian cut, you might be thinking, where did this St. John's come from? But this is what I was expecting. This is crazy. This is back and forth. Both these teams are running these very quick compositions that are based off just getting picks immediately. One clipping with a Tracer and an Echo, and I think the biggest thing there was it was kind of an opposite of what happened on Well. That time, Delaware, they hit Q first, and they hit it too soon. They used their duplicate as well as their Valkyrie, the only ultimates they had online before that final fight started, and there was still about 30% to cap. So for St. John's, they realized, hey, we have this huge ult bank. Let's just wait out the duplicate, wait for those duplicated mines to go away, wait for the Valkyrie to run out, then we run in. It was a bit touch and go. Rich's Graviton Surge that could have been huge to take out the backline didn't get the kills, but the rest of the team in the end did follow up, and here we are at round 3 on Ilios. It feels like this is back to the best of 5 series you used to see on control maps of how long it's been going.
Yeah, with the tie up here, basically have a one and done. This map will decide it for our first game of this best of 5. A lot of pressure here from Rich early onto Milk. It makes a lot of sense trying to negate out this May early. As we're looking at it, ITG trying to get in some damage edgewise. No pull success for this player so far. Now point opening up, there's a nice one onto a huge source of damage in the form of Nate. ITG kind of focusing a little bit on that teleporter. If these players are done, they can't take it. Big boop here onto Mr. Koala Man, so another tank falling a little bit earlier here. The theoretical 2.5 tank is Milk. Still alive and still getting a lot of damage in, but everybody's done a good job of staying away from that one so far. Rich now out. Huge window. Fantastic stuff. Keeping his Roadhog alive. The name of the game. ITG actually not far away from this ultimate now. Huge source of damage there as Mr. Wallman takes out not 2 but 3.
Yeah, that could have been a big group there for Paul, but unluckily wasn't able to get them off the side. Though they do take down the Roadhog, but it doesn't look like it's going to be enough. It's just going to be a lone Zarya. And what you're seeing right now is 2 very different comps. St. John's, they want to stick on that Chaos comp. They want to be running around the point with their Tracer and Echo. University of Delaware, they took a very different approach. They use that Symmetra to teleport over the side straight to the point, and I love this comp. I think that's one that works very well. But the problem is that they're running a Reinhardt, so sure, you got the shield, but then you got one here that's just kind of standing there, and that's it. If you can cut someone off with the Mei on point, then you can focus them down, but none of the walls are able to cut anyone off there, and there you have it. First point did go to University of Delaware, but now it's been flipped back to St. John's.
Another whiff Tracer Bomb. That is definitely something we've caught on stream several times. Nate with one out, missing as well. Fiscal and Native both been playing fantastic tracers, but the ultimates there, they're getting plenty of opportunities. Only what, maybe 50% on that? Not sure. On board with Savix now does have that charge and gets pulled out of it instantly. ITG recognizing that one as soon as that shield falls. Fantastically done, easy pull there. Now just kind of back to a stalemate.
Yeah, that was a great play by IGG. They realized that Savage was no for the charge. They thought it was an easy kill because there was an enemy frozen right in front of them as the Wrecking Ball. Not able to get it done. The good news, though, for Savage and Milk is they still have ultimates to use. They could try to combo the Mail. There it is. Can they follow up with the Shatter? They need to do something to finish up the fight.
Rich actually charging through, so fantastic job there. The freeze gets a lot of effect and a lot of damage in, but so far, wow, fantastic redirect by Rich. Even copping onto that Reinhardt and realizing that the wall would have blocked out a lot there. Just like that, St. John's holding on to this one. University of Delaware looking at 42% in loser side so far.
Yeah, it's not looking good for them. I said they needed to use the Shatter as follow-up because of how quick a lot of these heroes are on the side of St. John's. They don't think they needed to commit it. They end up losing the fight because of a great duplicate from Rich. And now the turntables have happened. You see Mr. Coleman has those mines. Again, going to use them very early. And St. John's, they don't even want to let them touch the point.
Wallman going for a flank on this one as well. If they can contain the University of Delaware, that'll be it. 97%, but that's a huge shatter. ITG trying, but Rich getting, again, not one, but two, but three. Huge triple there. Could not have come at a better time. Savix trying everything to get in. Not going to touch, and the entirety of University of Delaware either falls or doesn't touch point.
I don't know about you, FBI Tugboat, but this is a hype match. I think this is not what people were expecting based on the standings alone. But St. John's, they are showing us how much better they have gotten since the fall split ended. This is a team that could really show themselves here in the spring. And, you know, we talk a lot about, oh, well, maybe they improved during the break. Maybe they didn't. I think that's something that we could just guesstimate. But here it is in action. What a great way to start it off. They are going to take Ilios in a very hotly contested map, going up 1-0.
Yeah, fantastic stuff. 2-1 there for the St. John's University squad, and I can't repeat what you said even anymore at all here, Jag. How these teams performed through that holiday season, COVID has proved to be ridiculously unpredictable, but St. John's coming through here, proving very impressive stuff towards the end of last season, and now hitting this spring split extremely hard. Love to see it.
Yeah, and I think they've got a good idea of what they want to run. You don't see them swapping things up based on the point. They have this one composition. They really like it. They're going to keep running it. I think Delaware, they have some more set plays, some more compositions based on where they're going to be. And I liked the idea of the just setting up on point with the Symmetra. I think that's a great kind of bunker comp. But if you're going to commit to the bunker, you got to do it fully. I think Double Shield would have been great there, even though an Orisa and Sigma aren't in the best place. You have that spam damage of shields, so you can play a bit further away. As I was saying, the Rhine kind of useless. You're just a walking square at that point, a rectangle with your shield up. You gotta be, swinging around and hoping there's someone near you that can actually be receiving the end of that hammer. And with the comp that St. John's is running, they're gonna be playing farther away. They're just gonna be spamming from afar. So it was a good idea, but they needed to go all in and adjust to what we saw from St. John's. Delaware weren't able to adapt there, but we know there's at least still 2 more maps coming up, so maybe we'll see that adaptation later on.
Yeah, I can't agree with you more on the Reinhardt choices here. At a certain point, it almost felt like this is just meant to be some kind of counter to the minefields that we saw our Wrecking Ball players come out with just so frequently. Not 100% sure, but I think obviously there's different game modes, and we'll be seeing something different probably coming in through here to the next. Just as a reiteration, this is our St. John's University squad that came in 2-6 from our first 8 weeks. Blue Hens, that's Delaware 4-4. So just on paper, there's a clear underdog and a clear overdog. And St. John's is performing fantastically so far. Also, another interesting point, right? There's the St. John's Red Storm, and the Blue Hens, so it's kind of like red versus blue.
Yeah, gotta love that Halo reference. I actually didn't watch it, so I don't know the story there, but I do know the reference at least. So
It's dated. It's fair, Jack.
yeah, we're showing your age right now, but we're not going to be showing our age on one of the newer maps here in Overwatch that's going to be coming up. It's going to be Blizzard World, not the newest map. So, it's been out for a little bit, but definitely one of the newer ones versus what came out in the base game. And
It's been changed significantly, right? That's a
yeah,
fair statement.
I think one of the most interesting things about this map was the second point. Where you would cap on attack used to be so much farther away. They changed that, made it a lot easier for teams when you get to that second point. So that has been something that we've really appreciated. Thank you, Mr. Blizzard. We're gonna see how these teams do today. And I was casting earlier on the main channel, And we saw teams attempt to run the Wrecking Ball. It did not work out very well. I think you're saying about different maps, favor different comps. And when you've got a map here that's a very long kind of straight line to get to the point, and the defenders have a clear advantage of high ground, that makes it a lot more difficult. So I'm wondering if we're going to see St. John's run the same thing or go for more of a brawl style where they have that Reinhardt shield to protect them upon entry.
Yeah, you mentioned it earlier. You have to reiterate it. There's not anything clear really that can be pulled from, or just one definitive best comp out there that just does everything the best. And hey, that for which we should be thankful at the end of the day.
It's fun seeing them
The
swap things up.
Exactly,
It's so much fun.
exactly. At the end of the day, though, Junker World is just so fraught with so much difference in verticality, right? Teams, like you said, defensively can hold from just that vertical advantage. You'll have an advantage from up there, no matter what first-person shooter that you are playing at the time. There's a reason for it. Getting on in here, though, Blizzard World, excuse me, starting in just a bit. Hey, there we go. Same with the
Junker World
shark.
sounds fun. I want to go
Junker
there.
World, right? Yeah, there you
It's
go.
like it's Blizzard World, but it's just Australian,
Everything Australia, right?
dystopia. Yeah.
What's that big mountain, like the big red mountain in the middle, like the Uru or something like that? It's literally just a huge flat mountain in Australia.
I'm gonna be honest, I do not know the geography of Australia that well. You could ask me the
fair,
provinces,
that's
and I'll be like, Sydney, even though it's a city. So
That's
not-
that's fair.
not
That is
the
a city.
best
Yeah, that is a city. I know
knowledge.
that much. Sydney's a city.
Overwatch is definitely where my knowledge is best. One thing I want to point out before you come back in here is sides have swaps. So this is very interesting. Delaware, they're gonna be on defense first, and they're running a Bastion double shield. Oh my goodness.
With the Pharah up top, little Mercy action to boot. Classic Baptiste next to him. We all know what that's for. Invincibility onto the Bastion here, and something a lot more characteristic of our first Ilios match from St. John's.
Yeah, and they might be running into a world of hurt here. They're gonna have to run around this Bastion. Bastion's gonna have a great sightline just sitting up top, so you're gonna see Rich have to play very cautiously or you get taken down very quickly. The Mercy isn't on the Bastion. The Mercy's actually on the Pharah, so there's gonna be a bit of a battle in the sky too between Milk and Rich, which might be something that University of Delaware might want to rethink. I think something like a soldier might be better, but there you see Nate just gonna spam away. It's the click and shoot adventure, but boy does it work.
Yep, it's automated at this point, right? Nice res there. St. John's not going to have that coming through from the rest, but Milk actually falling. Nate pulling this one out, almost getting the last bit. I believe that was Savic. No, excuse me. I believe that was ITG on the other side. Not sure. Fiscal here, just a little bit cleanup action. We kind of assumed that the Bastion wouldn't work forever, right?
No way, because this comp is just so quickly. I thought it'd work a little bit longer, but I think the problem is when you pull away the tanks, then the Bastion is kind of just left out to dry. So you saw that there was no protection. The Reinhardt, it kind of shifted away. So unfortunately for Milk, or for Nate, I believe Nate was on the Bastion. They had to kind of try their best, but once you're out of that turret sentry mode, you are very vulnerable. So a great cap from St. John's. Now they're going to have those mines set up for Mr. Coleman. They're also going to have the Valkyrie and a pulse bomb.
5 minutes on the board, plenty of time on this clock to get a lot of different stuff done. The switches from Nate onto the Tracer makes a lot of sense. Now Rich falling to his counterpart. Milk got a lot of assistance for it as Koala Man and company trying to get some damage in edgewise, some little bit of tension here and stop this payload's path and its progress. 4.5 or so. And looks like University of Delaware, just like that. It came easier and quieter than we thought.
It did indeed. Pod used the Valkyrie. The pulse bomb came out from Pistol, but didn't hit anything. So now that they had the Valkyrie of their own up, they know that they've got this heal advantage for however long it may be. They also know that they've kind of zoned out some enemies because of those mines. So that fight ended quickly before, but now they're going to get a lot of free cart push.
On board with Rich here. A little bit of, only one man back on card. A little bit of contest action. That's just some Tracer and really just almost like because you need to. But what you don't need to do is fall to a opposing Tracer and then throwing a disc damage orb on top of that one. Now we're on board with Rich. The copy coming in. Barely able to get back away from that one. Okay, a little bit of damage in edgewise on that last. Milk now forcing this one out. Little echo on echo back to original form. Now we're looking just outside this last point. Gonna be rewarded with a little bit more time here.
Yeah, it is doing really well right now for St. John's. They have to now deal with the Transcendence, but if they can just wait and be patient, they will be able to kill through it. ITG gets rezzed up immediately. Now it comes down to if Rich can stay alive, and they do! Now we're gonna have the whole hog come out, and this is gonna be a cap right now for St. John's unless they can have the stall of a century. They cannot do it, and St. John's, they are looking so good right now. A little bit less than 5 minutes in the bank. They had to use a lot of ultimates there, but Slurpee gonna be very close to that Valkyrie, and Delaware, they don't know what to do right now. Alright, we got some issues right now for Tugboat, so I'm just gonna be taking over for play-by-play. It's gonna be physical falling, so that might be a bit of a reset for St. John's. You see where the card is. They can play that for a little bit longer and just wait about, just get a little bit more push. Really, it's when they get to the corner, that's when they'll have to stop. Melk does have that dupe, so it's going to be very interesting how they use this. They also have the Valkyrie up, so I'm assuming they're going to try to go in aggressively. There's going to be their Wrecking Ball running in, going to get hooked, but able to get out. They're going to be able to get Slurpee. That's a big pick to open things up. And Tugboat, are you here with me now?
I am. The tag over there onto the Mercy. We talked earlier about how the Tracer Bombs may not be sticking. It's literally the opposite of there you go. And you speak of it shall appear. You love to see it. It's almost like I'm forecasting the future here. Rich continuing on. And again, a familiar sight, right? Duos, triple kills from our Echo players is what is on the menu tonight.
And the question is that safe to res? They might try to go for it here. They are going to go for it. Oh, that would have been a great chance for University of Delaware to turn this fight around. They could have killed the Rezzing Mercy, but now with both support ultimates online, there are going to be counters to whatever Delaware throws at St. John's.
A lot of ultimates on board as well. There's the... Well, no, excuse me. That's the only one. We have a Transcendence on the other side and ITG whole hog, but there's the Transcendence. Now the whole hog absolutely interrupted. The milk has spoiled, is forced out of that one very, very quickly. All the way back, St. John's realizes the advantage, just a little bit of yardage will afford them. Comes back, takes down one. University of Delaware now playing off the back foot a little bit.
And I just want to talk about ITG. They have been insane on this Roadhog. They have gotten the most value hooks I have seen so far in EGFC. If they keep playing at this level, they will be my MVP of the matchup. They still gotta take out this map, and they just hooked through the Brig Shields.
Hooking through Brig Shields. Love to see it. On board with Rich, there's the copy again. Not willing to give this one up quite yet is St. John's. Sigma's the target for right now. There's the Griffitic Flux, and gets the trans... Okay, so this would have been perfect if Burnout wasn't transcending at the time, but using that for the movement ability and more, actually looks like a little bit angry about it. So it got Burnout at the very end, 1.78 meters away, very, very close. The contests are there. University of Delaware fighting hard to get back to this one. That is pushed all the way in. 2 minutes on the board for St. John's and 3 points.
All right. I'm just getting too excited about this. This is just such fun. This is an amazing game to watch. There was a great team play, and I'm not sure if it was on purpose or not. If it wasn't on purpose, it was just amazing timing. You saw that there was a pulse one that came out at the very end from St. John's. Mr. Qualman boops the Sigma of University of Delaware right into the path of it, helps take them out. St. John's had no healers alive in that last fight. There was nothing to counter the Gravitic Flux that came out from Delaware, and still they came out on that fight on top. St. John's they're looking really good, and they gave up some time. Took them about 2:40 to get it done, but 2 minutes on the clock for them with the full cap. So now Delaware, they're going to have to pull a rabbit out of the hat, and I don't think the Bastion is the answer this time around.
Absolutely not. Delaware now on defense. I would... Milk on the... I think the Echo has been working, right? Why change it if it's... why fix it if it's not broken, right?
It's, I don't know. I feel like Rich and Fiscal are getting the better of the duels against Nate and Milk. There have definitely been times when they've been trading, but generally I think that Rich and Fiscal have been winning those duels, so they might want to swap things up instead of taking them one-on-one. Of course, as soon as I say that, Milk does go to the Echo, so we'll see how this pans out. I think one thing that really is important for Delaware is that their tanks are getting value, and I talked about it already. I don't think Zaryo is a great choice with the Wrecking Ball. But Nate did show a lot of promise earlier on the Widow, so as long as they can alleviate pressure from Nate and they can just have him shoot away at a great angle, that might be what opens up this fight for them.
Speaking of great angles, that was about as good as it gets. Taking on Mercy early against a defensive unit on Blizzard World. literally is as good as you start an offensive push. Here it comes again. Slurpee has definitely gotten the memo on that one, hides that head for the time being. A little bit of damage against Nate, but not really finding too much until the nasty headshot. The flick up top gives him a little turn and burn, and this is the way to start it. Rich is actually too far back for Slurpee to safely res as well, which is really what we've been seeing off the first pick so far here today. Nate falling prey to, again, Mr. Koala Man's prowess on this Wrecking Ball, and both teams will be fighting this 5-5 for the time being. Res there, Nate's back. Fantastic stuff. University of Delaware looking hot so far.
Yeah, and right now they just need Nate to keep kicking heads, but then they lose their Wrecking Ball, and that might be the issue with running a Zen versus a Brig. Brig can do so much more burst healing because of those shields as well as her Inspire. Zen, that orb, it can heal you, but it's such a slow burn, and now it's even slower to cast, and now Nate, that's exactly what I was talking about. He cannot be found out. You need to keep him as far away from the fight as possible.
These Echoes just playing the role to a T whenever they realize a player is out, section without a healer, any sort of pocket or more. All over him instantly. Koala Man is doing a fantastic job on that off-tank role in that business as well. We're already just kind of farming ultimate here. He's been at 100 or close to it for quite a while, and really just completely confident. Like, yes, the Zarya might be a little bit wonky. There's a huge grab, and that's going to purchase them their first point, I believe.
It is indeed, and that's where the Brig is a disadvantage. I was talking about how Brig can do better healing sometimes, but Zen has the better ultimate. Transcendence keeps you alive a lot better than a rally does. You saw that Lane Lizard tried to commit the rally, and even though they lost 2 members, they are winning this fight. They are turning this around. Tugboat, how are they doing this?
Off the back of some more fantastic Zarya play. That was Rich keeping that alive for his squad for a little while, but now it seems that the dream might be dead. The copy onto the Wrecking Ball here, and University of Delaware gets absolutely zilch, nada, zero squat for their efforts.
And now they're going to run back in, and they're going to commit those mines early, and they're very awkward because you come over the top. But the one thing is you do kind of zone out, so if you can focus those enemies kind of stuck behind, it could work in your favor. But Physical, again, going to pick off Nate, so that long-distance threat no longer in the fight.
Yeah, again, Fiscal and Rich just shutting down this Widowmaker anywhere they decide to try and take angles from, really. Can be a lot of advantage from it, but now, yeah, there we go. I was going to say, now we're looking at a situation where a change is just simply required. Now Nate onto that McCree. You've seen what he can do recently, and especially against a Physical Tracer at 60 seconds is exactly the time it needs to come.
Yep, right now for University of Delaware, they have nothing. They've swapped to the McCree, though, so I think they're going to be looking for a little bit more crowd control to just wipe out Mr. Coleman, and that's what they did. That's what they do, and now they've got the grab.
There you go. That's the second. There you go. Beretti is not going to be denied a second time. Full team kill, and that might be the first bell, first full team kill bell.
Yep, it's said and done with. Team kill does come through. IGG couldn't stay alive. It's just so hard when you are a lone Roadhog. So this might not be over yet. They left with only one player on the point, but it isn't a beat the rotation. Burnout was almost in a world of hurt there. So that's actually good for Delaware because it gives them a little bit of free push committing Mr. Koalaman early. But it's not going to be that much push because we know Wrecking Ball gets back into fights really quickly. And you see the alt banks. It's now actually in Delaware's favor. They're going to have 4 ultimates going into this fight. The biggest thing is they need to save Transcendence for a worthy cause. You don't have to commit it to mines. You could commit it just when a teammate gets weak.
Mr. Koalaman looking for just a way into this fight so far. There's the mines up the top, forcing out the Transcendence. So anytime you force out a huge ultimate from a healer like that will be money. Probably not going to find too much advantage from the mines themselves, but again, that's going to be worth it all day long. Mr. Koalaman will have that one back much sooner than Burnout on the Zenyatta would be.
Yeah, and I was saying, you know, you don't have to use it for mines, but that's a scenario where you do because otherwise it's certain death, so you don't want to take that risk. As he said, very high value getting that out. They also get the high noon burned, so that's one less ultimate for Delaware. They try to create space of it, weren't able to find anything, but still they able to find Slurpee later on, so the main heals down for St. John's, and they might have to do a little bit of retreating unless Rich just keeps doing Rich things and getting kills.
Nate falling on this one. And Rich again, can't say it again, just cashing that check all the way to the bank. Every time he sees a player off section without a healer, gonna be all over it. Big pull there, does have the whole hog as well. Kind of fraught to come down and really engage with this one though. and gonna get taken out back to that Echo farm pretty quickly. Beretti up top just getting absolutely berated. Is gonna fall down. Nope, is not. Doesn't need to because the Tracer or the Mercy does answer there. St. John's losing a couple. There's a third as well. This is gonna be a huge advantage. Okay, all right. I gotta ask. Talk to me a little bit about this Delaware ultimate investment. Put it like that.
Yeah, the Graviton Surge, I don't think it was needed. It does clean up the fight, but when you have only about 2 minutes on the clock, you really need to save 1 or 2 fights per engagement. So I think they were trying to use it to cancel the resurrection because Grav does pull you in. It might put you out of that line of sight. Might have canceled it. It didn't. I mean, you do get a little bit more ult charge for the rest of your team, but this ult bank now, all you got is that High Noon, and High Noon is such a boomer bust ult. It either gets all or nothing. So we'll see how that works out, and now they don't even have that because Rich has got a 3k after the duplicate.
Again, these Echoes just absolutely going to task. It almost seems like one of the DPSs here is more of like a support role for the other, like kind of getting in chip damage edgewise, finishing off kills and stuff, but really it's just been the Echo show so far. Minute 30 on point.
That's why Tracer and Echo play together so well, because Tracer can do a bunch of chip damage, might not get the one tap, but then you throw in a sticky or a focusing beam, and that's a target melted.
Yep. Literally a song sung 1,000 times over, and it'll be a sad one when it's on the receiving end. 1 minute 15. Burnout super low. No Transcendence invested. It's a good job. St. John's pushes there. Might have been a different story. Obviously, there's no way of knowing. Oh, the stick, but gets completely negated by that projected Zarya bubble. Fantastic stuff. Again, that kind of comes down to, I'm not really sure if that was planned, but it doesn't matter because it was beautiful.
It was beautiful, and I'm saying I don't like the Zarya that much, but this is looking a lot better with the Zarya play than it was on Ilios. They're making it work. The bubbles have been great. Again, I just think the biggest problem is you don't have that long-range damage. Zarya's alternate fire, it has some range, but it's projectile, and it has an arc to it. Right now, they have, they're switching actually Nate to the Hanzo, so they might be trying to go for a Grab Dragon combination, but you see Liam Lizard does have that Transcendence that they're saving.
They're going to know that instantly and just literally hold on to that. There's Grab from one side. Rich trying to get damage in his own ways. Cappy comes onto the Zarya for this one. Continuing on, there's a much bigger Grab, tossing a lot into the back of that one. Liam Lizard does use that Transcendence towards the end. But St. John's still handily in the lead with only 4 seconds to go. Minefield out of the end as well, and now providing a little bit of wall damage against Nate. That's the Hanzo, not able to take down a Tracer for themselves, much less the ball there, just not enough time. Trying to touch on a point, keep this one alive, but really just scrambling around is the University of Delaware. The change, onto Beretti, onto the Winston would have been good with a lot of support there. Burnout onto the Moira is trying to get in damage to multiple players at the same time, but I just don't think that is going to be enough.
Yeah, and we talked about the Transcendence being important for St. John's. Once you throw the Graviton Surge in early, which was done by Delaware, you can use that whenever you want to. That Dragon Strike was just not going to be ready in time, so it was a great idea by Delaware. Should have just done it a bit sooner, and you see Beretti had a great game. These off tanks for both sides have both been amazing. ITG is going to be coming up as the winner once again. Swapped to the Zarya very late, but this was a huge grab that opened things up. And now it's going to be 2-0 for St. John's. The underdogs, they are on top of this series, and they're looking so good so far. But honestly, Delaware, they're looking really good too. I mean, there's no team that's looking bad in this series.
No, it's not at all. Just the narrative to be paid attention to here is the University of Delaware, the Blue Hens, 4-4. They drop here. They go down to that negative win-loss ratio there. St. John's still fighting back 2-6 to get their third. But again, this is a squad that came off the back of a win in the Vincentian Cup. So again, a wholeheartedly different team that is simply playing a lot more cohesively as we're coming through here. We're going to throw it to a very short break here, unless my man Jag has something else for you before we go.
No, it's all set. We're going to be back with some more action on Volskaya on the other side of this break. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
And we are back, Overwatch fans. Here, the battle between St. John's and University of Delaware Blue Hens continues now. St. John's up 2-0 here, Jag.
Yeah, they are, but it was not an easy path to get here. They are looking like the better squad by just a smidge, but both those maps are really close. 2-1 on Ilios, 3-2 on Blizzard World. So Delaware are definitely giving them a fight. They're giving us a great time here in the cast. I hope everyone watching at home is enjoying this as well, and I want to see some more maps. I want to see this go the distance because these two teams are just playing so well. And one of the things that you and I talked about during the break was some of that tank play, and you
Mm-hmm.
kind of made fun of me because I was talking about how bad the Zarya is usually, but it looked a lot better on Blizzard World. Both of these off tank players going for it, and both of them looking pretty well when they got high charge.
The cohesion, the coordination, the communication there, you can basically see it flying across these just like your many different colored forms of projectile ammunition. Really, without again, that coordination with Azaria and other players, I 100% agree with you, but they really made it work here. ITG specifically has really just kind of been flexing back and forth. We saw a lot of Roadhog play on that Ilios map there, a couple different hooks, but that really wasn't the main thing. We got just on stream several different fantastic hooks on the Zenyatta, just a classic, almost guaranteed, pretty much guaranteed one shot kill, right? Like the combo, the kill combo.
Yeah, and ITG has been really flexible. We've seen them on the Diva, on Ilias, Roadhog for most of this series, but then also the Zarya at the end. So I think
Yes.
the only off tank we haven't really seen them on is the Sigma. Obviously, Wrecking Ball can be an off tank or main tank depending on the comp, but they've already had Mr. Qualman on the main tank, Wrecking Ball for most of that. So it'll be interesting to see if they swap anything up. But you want an off tank player that's really flexible, someone who is
Yes.
a master at all roles. And so far, like I said earlier, ITG, if St. John's can close this out here, they are my MVP of the match. And that is a lot of high praise because I think everyone right now in St. John's is playing on a level that we have not really seen. Again, they did win that Vincentian kind of pre-season, mid-season cup, however way you want to look
Mhm.
at it, that had some other EGF teams involved, like DePaul, that they defeated in the finals. But I don't think either of us expected them to look this good despite how well they did in that tournament.
Yeah, the mid-season hype battle there providing exactly what we needed, which is a little bit of insight into how these teams evolve as they come through and really get their feet put to the fire. That is the form of a lot of pressure coming through with other high-skilled teams. Really cannot laud St. John's enough with how they have adapted through those throughout. Speaking of team comps, looks like Mr. Qualman back on the ball. Can't be surprised at the rest of St. John's picks.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see how this Zarya works out on the attack. Because you see for Bordy, which I think I've been mispronouncing that. I do believe it is Bordy, so my apologies if they rewatch this back. They're on the Sigma, so they have a little bit more of that high ground sustain. They have the Soldier as well as the Ash, so I'm sure they're just gonna be kind of hiding behind that Sigma shield and hoping that no one gets up there, but we've seen how good Mr. Coleman is at booping people off of high ground, so all it takes is one swing in to completely destroy that plane. Might not even boop them off just the high ground, but also the map, depending on where they are.
Yeah, Savix realizes what he was up there looking for it. Not gonna happen so easily. All of St. John's just kind of collapses on there, making the wise decision, getting out before the pain does come, before the hurt comes. Fiscal looking in, just again trying to encompass this point and get damage in every opportunities every which way. Delaware losing his Zenyatta early, so that's a huge source of damage and healing. Now their other healer, and we know how this one's gonna go, Jag.
Yeah, it's gonna go badly. Milk jumps off, Pod taken down, and that all starts out with the fact that Burnout, I believe they were playing on the low ground away from their team. I'm not sure if they fell or just positioned there, but if you're a Zenyatta, you are instantly dive target numero uno. So
Yes.
unfortunately,
Yes.
Pod was not able to peel. They lose Zen very early on, and the rest of it is history, as they say. Tugboat. The good news for Delaware is even though they lose that first point very quickly, the snowball effect is not really going to be possible unless they get an opening pick, because they did not get any ultimates off of that very early cap. So they might have to take another fight or two before they build anything up. But just as I say that, Rich, being the mad lad that they are, going to get duplicate and use it.
Oh, I thought this was gonna go for the fancy high altitude headshot from this copied Ash so far, but again, Zenyatta falling early, but this time it's going to be the other way around. And a res coming quickly. Slurpee not going to have that res for the next 30 seconds or so as Milk gets the investment res-wise on the other side. Perfectly timed Mercy ult from Pod there. Any other way, Rich would have gotten that pick. 7 days a week and twice on Sundays. Now a lot of pressure on the point here. St. John's has not dropped a player in a while, and anything else was rezzed up by Slurpee Wise. That's going to be a 5-minute team time bank jag, and possibly a quick end to our best of 5.
My favorite thing out of that entire fight was you saw Rich dives in after the duplicate ends, tries to find the Mercy, can't get the focusing beam on them because the range got nerfed a little while ago, turns their attention to the Ashe, which I believe was Melk, and then they just turn around like, where did Melk go? You could actively see them like looking around, and it was actually their teammate, Liam Lizard, who finished that off. So Zen, not only a healer, does damage there, but regardless, like you said, a great time. It might be enough to end this right from the get-go, but we know how Assault is. It's 2 CP at heart, but 6 CP in reality, so there could still be a very quick cap from Delaware to force things in. Regardless, it's an amazing time bank, and St. John's, they built up this momentum. It's kind of started since that first point in Ilios, and they have not let it go.
They really have not. Kept foot to the pedal on there, pedal to the metal, cruise control on, any other driving metaphors or analogies that you want to go with. University of Delaware, they're going to have a really fine, flashy, and fast offense on here if they want to try to get anywhere close to St. John's and their time back as they're coming into the second. Yes, snowballs are harder now, but that was about as close to an effective snowball as St. John's could get, as a team could get, right?
It was indeed. And yeah, Mr. Qualman just fell off the map, and although it's a very fast character, that I'm not sure how to make. I don't know if we're going to get back in time. This might be a 5v6. We'll see how quickly Delaware engages. Yeah, I think it was essentially a snowball. They built up that duplicate, then they kind of played passively around it. They got the ball through the duplicate, and then after that, they were able to just run around. So we're going to see Mr. Coleman get back in just in time to try to follow up on ITG's hook. And now that 6v6 is on the board, it's going to be Nate again on that Widowmaker. So I'm wondering if they'll be able to find value. They've been able to find a pick here and there, but generally they have been caught out, and now they're going to be caught out again.
Yeah, and when they decide to pull it from up here, there's just only so many sightlines they can really take. Zenyatta on the other side, that's Liam Lizard, realizes that. No reason whatsoever to even show that head, get damage in edgewise, Discord orbs, and more. Like, you know, the charge-up shots, everything else. And that's going to be Nate falling first, again, unfortunately. Burnout following suit on this. The Zenyatta not able to keep it up. Todd as well. The 2 soft supports here for University of Delaware so far not working.
And now Savage is kind of caught out. So my question is, are they just going to be waiting? Are they going to try to engage on the Zenyatta who's right above them? There's a lot of options here that you have, but I guess for now, they're just going to stay? Oh, Mr. Qualman almost found them out. No, Savage is still here, so this is actually a potentially great setup if they can just jump on someone. So far, St. John's has been great at just finding one target out and collapsing. Delaware, they need to try to do something similar. They don't have the Echo, but they still have the Tracer, so if Savage can jump on a squishy target, they can try to burn them down, and it looks like that's what they're setting up for.
Slurpee falling first is fantastic. Not even near a Transcendence as Liam Lizard. Defense definitely not going to be looking hot off the top of this one. Savix now rotating onto point. Gets a little bit of progress off the top, but between Echo shots and Zenyatta charge-ups, not going to be easy ways for Savix player. Now moving onto the flank and moving attention away from that point. Nate again tries for the quick flicks, but that's going to be hard. There's the stick. Burnout does not have that Transcendence, even if he was going to pull it. Pod super low here, and some solid progress, but not going to be enough for the side of University of Delaware so far.
They could have gotten 2 ticks there, but instead of playing point, they just kind of kept running around, so I think that was a bit of a misplay there from Delaware. They do get 1 tick, as you said, but could have gotten a lot more, which makes their win condition just that much more difficult, and they only have 1:35 left. They do have a winning combination in the Pulse Bomb and the Transcendence. Not the Transcendence, the Pulse Bomb and the Graviton Surge. The Transcendence will not be enough to counter it because it does healing, but it's not gonna counter something instantaneous, like a Diva Bomb or a Pulse Bomb. So they have something to win with, but Mr. Qualman has those mines and is looking for them.
100%. Nate falling first for the side of University of Delaware again. It has been big when it happens and not when it's not. Big whole hog out here. Transcendence invested. Liam Lizard doing a full job of keeping everybody alive so far, and that's a Bordy Zarya that gets mega low there. Perfect investment from Burnout. Gets there very quickly. Tires squealing even with the Transcendence to keep the team alive.
Now they just need to cap the point. They're trying to chase kills, and now they've lost Nate, so Slurpee still alive for the time being. I think that is basically going to be it, and I think the big hero play there was a shield bash that came out from Pod onto ITG when they were using it to take a breather. That damage mitigation and that healing was gone. They are able to destroy the hero with the most health on the field. And there you have it. That is going to be the first point. Not as much time, but still plays nonetheless. And if you're wondering why Melk didn't use the Pulse Bomb there into the Graviton Surge, it's because it was only the Roadhog in there. So even if they connected to it, there's no guarantee that it's going to get the kill.
Yep, exactly. Especially with that reduction in damage coming in, 50% wise while he's pulling it. Nate just gets absolutely swarmed here and badgered, bullied by the Echo again. No support there, no value taken from having this Widowmaker. Rich now reporting down bottom into duty here. Focusing Beam and more is to completely delete out that Brig. Savix follows suit on there as Mr. Koala Man trying to get something done here. There's just going to be some kind of, end fight picks. Big health pack here, but that's not going to be enough to take down Bordy.
I think they're just trying to get their minds up because they're so close to it now. Yep. The big takeaway from that fight was Milk got a good pulse bomb, which forced them to get off point, and they're able to get a tick. So getting one tick there that's good. Before, when they were on the first point, that was not so good, but that's winning a fight in a fight you lost in a way. Now they're gonna have to figure out a way to get the next two, and they've got the grab again. They don't have a pulse bomb. They don't really have anything they can combo it with. So the question is, do you wait for these mines to come up, or do you just go in after you get a pick onto Fiscal?
There you go, burnout proven. Like you said, that this is Zenyatta support with all that support words in quotes. Can get damage off themselves. Huge picks, headshots all over the place as Nate now getting a lot of value himself. Big headshot onto the off-tank ITG, the Zarya. Ridge now pulling on this one, forced out of the copy early. Focusing Beam and more. Super high as Nate finds that one again. Bordy taking one of his own. Now here comes the Transcendence. That's just going to be for some stall action onto point. University of Delaware just needs to envelop this.
Yeah, and there was time that they could have taken even more point percentage, but it was a great line that came up from Mr. Callman. It cut off half the team, so the Delaware was stuck in choke instead of actually on point. And then Transcendence is used there to make sure that nothing more is gained. It is a big ult committed, and the only thing that was used there was the Graviton Surge in the end for Delaware, so they have 5 ultimates going into this. They just need to make sure that they layer them well. You come in with the sight coming out from Widowmaker. She gets a kill anyway without it. Now you pop it. Now you can use the mines on where most of the other team is. You can use the rally as well early on. And ITG, though, is able to eat that pulse bomb, so that might be the thing that turns the fight around.
A full Billy here for ITG. About half health as the Transcendence comes out for Burnout. The Brig ultimate from Pod just finished on this one. Still got a little bit of armor left, but ITG getting tossed out of that mech quickly. A lot of progress here. 35 seconds now for the University of Delaware as this hits crunch time. They started this about 1:30. They've pushed it now to the end. Now the only ultimate even close to his Bordy's Gravs. Slurpee falls. Savix getting damage in from the back. Fantastic flank stand more, and University of Delaware is going to get rewarded for their time. 1 minute. But I can do this math, Jag. 5 minutes and 41 seconds is a little bit more.
ITG, stop it. This is just such great play. Eats another pulse bomb at the end. Obviously, the round's over, but it's just a little flex play. Also stayed alive through that. Didn't die as Baby Diva, which is something we talked about earlier on. I think the biggest thing was that was a fight that Delaware could have won a lot quicker. They kind of panicked with their ultimates. They used the rally, I think, a bit too soon. They used the Transcendence when it wasn't really necessary. But still, we're able to get it done, which is all that matters at the end of the day. But with only a minute, that gives you 2 fights at best if you lose that first one really quickly. So St. John's probably not panicking too much. We're going to have to see Delaware play a lot quicker than they did the first time around if they want any chance of winning the series. Because if they don't get anything here, then the best they can do is draw.
Yeah, the best realistic situation, not realistic, the best possible situation they'll be looking at if that doesn't happen again is that
they
draw.
still the kill 541. That's almost 6 minutes.
Yes, like I said, even I can do that math. I have more than I have 10 fingers, so it's just easier for me.
Bad at it, but I also suck at math. If it makes you feel any better. It was my worst subject by far.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. I was more of a social studies kind of guy, an English guy myself.
I feel that. I feel that on a spiritual level. But we'll see if
go.
Delaware is feeling this push on a spiritual level. They've got some value with Nate. I think if St. John's can shut down Nate, that's going to be the key to holding out here. But if Nate can create some distance and pop off, got a lot of picks last time that helped him cap both points.
Yeah, that really will be the deciding factor, that real defining factor. Nate, when he's allowed to go, will find the headshots left and right, but whenever there's any attention onto him, there's just so many members from St. John's that can answer them. Mr. Qualaman on the ball, Rich on the Echo, Triskel on the Tracer, and that's me, Savix. Finding one very, very early. Huge source of damage in that 30% is gone, and then Slurpee is just allowed on in for a free res. Just free real estate, come on in, pitch tent where you want to. 22 seconds on this. University of Delaware has taken a first tick on this. Nate gets the first little bit of attention, then falls quickly. 15 seconds left, falling from ITG on this Roadhog. I don't think Slurpee is going to have that res quite so far. Lizard looking for some long-range damage on this. 5 seconds to go, looking at, yeah, just shy of 2 ticks now. Is 3 seconds there. They'll get rewarded with more if they take it all the way, but that'll be easier said than done, Jag.
Yeah, easier said than done, but it's being done regardless. It looks like that fight was wrapped up for St. John. Unless Rich can pull out a haymaker, it looks like it might be over. But now Fiscal and Rich are stepping up. It's just the tanks and a Brig. Fiscal to run right into that shield buff, and that's a huge misplay on the resurrection, because now the point is Skype, they're going to be caught out, and they're not going to have that really fast spawn time. Oh my goodness, this could be a full cap right now for University of Delaware.
Oh wow, Slurpee left out in the lurch. Yes, only 13 seconds, but Delaware's about to start this without, or against a team that doesn't have a main healer whatsoever. Like, res be damned. 5 seconds to go now. Going to be touching in just a second. Okay, very, very concerned they weren't going to, but Fiscal finding Nate in the back again. Savix falling, so St. John's doing very well so far. There comes the Transcendence as Liam is down, dusted, and gone from this fight. Slurpee pulling that Mercy ultimate. Burnout following suit after the Transcendence does end. Mr. Qualaman continuing to get in some fantastic off-tank damage. 40 now falling, and that's going to be it for the second push here on Volskaya. St. John's will be up next with 5 minutes and 41 seconds in the time bank.
Again, just panic ultimates there from the end at University of Delaware. They didn't know what to use or when to use it. They lost their wrecking ball very early on, which puts a big damper in that second point attack, especially when they almost had mines. So that was already a 5v6 when they began the Transcendence being thrown out when it was not needed. And once those ults are down the drain, there is not much you can do in a fight that you're down one person. Still, they got the first point. So now it's winnable. There is a world where they can kill 5:41 off the clock, force a map 4, or at least draw it. Because if they can hold them on the second point, which would be the 4th point now for, counting them up, then, just a full hold, then it's the same situation. It's a draw. It's not a win, but it's a draw, and they stay alive. No points given to either team. This is not a best of 3. This is a first of 3, so you need 3 points scored.
That's a very, very good point. First to 3, not best of 5. An important distinction here, because 0 points is possible from both teams in a single map. St. John's looking at a rich pick onto the Widowmaker. Of course, they're on offense, and they can change this up, but I'm not against it. Delaware on defense, if they're staring down the barrel of having to burn 5 minutes, 41 seconds, don't you just kind of need a main support, if not the res with the Mercy?
I mean, you can go with that, but it seems like the Brigida is working out better for them. They've had some really good shield bashes, and his pod has been great at taking down Fiscal or Mr. Qualman, so I think that that's more valuable in the end. The res, it can be worth it, it cannot be worth it, so they're not going to take that chance. Instead, they're going to be playing a bit of a different comp. They're sticking with the Soldier, but no Ashe, no Sigma, so a bit more mobile this time around. I think they realized being stationary was their crux last time. We'll see if they can learn from it. But as you said, Rich on the Widowmaker, so it's a similar condition. If they can keep Rich out of harm's way, they might be able to pop off. We haven't seen Rich so far on the Widow at all, so this will be our first time in the series with it.
This is true. This is true. Rich came, a couple of hairs breadth away from taking the top off of Nate earlier. Nicely done, bug pull there, and even better Bordy projected barrier. Bordy follows that one up with a pick onto the Zenyatta, and for now, St. John's not looking ideal. Nate's done a great job of staying alive on the side. Now pressuring this ball, and oh, what a boop. Oh man, that is an unwelcome visitor.
Yeah,
and then follows it up on 31.
It looks like it was just going to be a hold from University of Delaware, but now St. John's, they're doing what they're do best, which is taking fights they should have lost and making them win. All they gotta do is take out that wrecking ball. They do, and this might not be the full cap, depending on how quickly Delaware responds if they want to contest this, but I think that's why they're sending out ITC to kind of be the bouncer right now. They don't want anyone to try, and Rich now is getting into the swing of things, popping heads.
That's fair. Roadhog is a bouncer. I'm not sure if I'd even try to enter that establishment. Big headshot. Wow, okay, Bordy falling. What's that? Sorry?
It's not worth it. He's just too scary.
Yep, exactly. Like, imagine getting bounced out of a bar for doing probably nothing. If we're thinking about Roadhog here
You
and
get
how like
hooked out of
volatile
it.
he could
He
be.
just throws you out
know?
with the hook.
Yeah, exactly. He actually stands outside and just hooks you out. There you go. Nasty headshot. Finally, Rich finding, or this is a Widowmaker finding value against a Tracer that is getting them troubles. We found that the other way around earlier. Damage from the back from Nate. Tries to put down the heal in field, but not going to be enough. 40 finding one with teammate burnt out. Nice res onto this one as Rich finds a headshot of his own, and now the Transcendence invested from burnt out. Liam has his. We've seen Zenyatta use their Transcendence to get back to 5, but I don't think that's going to happen today.
I don't think it
Fancy
is
tech
either.
there
They're
from
gonna wait.
Nate.
They're going to take out Nate, so that's a big pick. They need to get the Transcendence out from Burnout, which they already did. There are still 5 other ultimates. So right now on the other side, 40's going to try to use the grab, but the Transcendence is there for Liam.
Grab. The rally from the Brigade now used. Burnout downed from the physical headshots in the back. Again, Tracer just continuing to get some great damage in here. Burnout will be back into this one soon. Milk from the side here. Little aimbot action against Mr. Koala Man. I think that might be one of the first times that our, hit scan Tracer or sniper players has taken out this Mr. Koala Man ball. The Wrecking Ball has really just been super impressive so far.
Yeah, Nate tried running the soldier earlier and it didn't get a lot of value. Now, this is where things get dangerous. What? You got the whole hog. You can just boot them off the point. You don't even have to get the kills. Okay. And the crowd control is what's going to secure St. John's University a 3-0 victory over University of Delaware. It was a tight match. They had to claw their way towards it. But at the end, this new SJU squad are looking dangerous. And I really want to see how they develop for the rest of the season. Yep. They look so much cleaner than they did in the fall. It's only one matchup. It was against a mid-table team, but I'd love to see, especially how they do against some of the other top teams in the league.
With it. As we saw from this replay here at the very end, just some fantastic play from ITG. Literally, I think the argument can be made that he just won that entire game. Yes, they had plenty of time left and more things to be done there, but everything had to go right there. He comes in, gets the entry hook onto the Zarya, pulls the whole hog at the end, just gets, again, everything in a bag of chips done there, Jag. Fantastic stuff. You could probably tell from my tone, I was a little bit skeptical up to that point. They'd lost a player. It looked like they were kind of like trying to, rotate, come back, kind of rethink that game plan. Not going to happen. ITG with the backpack.
Yeah, I mean, there were so many fights right there. I thought that St. John's, they had lost. They were down a few. Then they get a res. They get Mr. Coleman in there. They get maybe their Tracer or Echo as well. They just come back. They're so quick. And then somehow, even when they're at this big player disadvantage, they just come back from the brink. They hold on to those points way longer than they should. And then they win the points that they shouldn't. So great play. And speaking of Mr. Koala Man, we're going to have an interview with that Wrecking Ball player in just a little bit. We're going to take a quick break. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back with that interview in just a second.
If you feel the same way, or if you want me to stay, baby, just give me something. How am I supposed to know? We've got all this time, so stop wasting mine. We've got all this time. How am I supposed to know?
And we are back, Overwatch fans. A little interview action coming at you. FBI Tugboat Heroes, my man Jag, and we got Mr. Koala Man coming in to give us a minute of his time after the game. Koala Man, you with me?
Yes, I'm right here.
Gotcha. Jag's got a couple questions for you first.
Yeah, absolutely. So we talked about the Vincentian Cup a lot of the time on the broadcast because one thing that I remember you guys talking about, I don't remember who it was on your team, but one player was like, this is a team that's like really rejuvenated. You guys win that, you go into the break, and then you come out of this, you get this 3-0 win. So can you kind of walk me through like the progress your team has made since that Vincentian Cup win up until now?
Yeah, so that was a crazy game. We lost the first two, and we ended up coming up with a reverse sweep. That was altering, really eye-opening for us, and we really started to take this break seriously. So we went into it with a new attitude. We were scrimming, we were talking, we did some VOD reviews. We got some like really high-level players to help us out a little bit, and I think it showed today in our communication and in our gameplay.
It absolutely did. You guys looked great. We mentioned every one of your players' names on the broadcast for having a great play, but there's one player in particular that I think we shouted out a little bit more than most, and it was your tank partner, ITG. You told us that they are a new player, and they looked incredible today. What do they bring to this new roster?
Yeah, no, they bring a good amount of experience, So originally he was playing Sigma during the Vincentian Cup, but Sigma is dead now. So he's been playing he's trying to learn Diva, he's played Zarya a bit, and now he's playing Roadhog a lot. So it allows our team to really open up, and it allows some of our other players to play the roles that they really want to, and they can play better. So
Yeah.
overall, it's just a better roster, and it really helps the entire team in terms of morale, performance, communication, all of that.
And wow, I gotta say, some of the hooks that we saw from ITG today blew my mind. It looks like Hook like 1.0, but that's enough out of my mouth for now. We're gonna flip it over to FBI Tugboat for some more questions.
Absolutely. So, man, we said it, Mr. Koala Man, and gotta ask. Beginning of Volskaya, it wasn't one but two. What happened there, man?
I was lagging. It's crazy. I had a lot of ping.
There it is.
No, the first time my team was making fun of me, they called me a one trick, so I was like, I'll show them. And the second time, Hook, it's an interesting ability sometimes. Some things you can hook, some things you can't hook. I found that out today. Pretty first-hand experience during the game. No, that was just a mistake. The second one was not a mistake. It wasn't meant to be BM, and I felt really bad because my team started yelling at me. But the first one was on purpose. The second one was a little embarrassing.
We'll move past it. We'll move past it. And funny stuff really there though. But as far as this other squad here at the University of Delaware, who do you really felt like you played best against? We saw you counter many different players, but who was it that you really had that best edge against?
There were a couple of different times where I felt like I was doing a really good job kind of diving the Widow with my DPS. I think we were doing a really good job doing that. And then there were just a couple of times where they were running on Ilios. They were running Rhine Czar, and they were just, I was above them on that one point with the mines, and the Rhine couldn't get in, but they had the Mei, and it was difficult. I don't know if there was anyone that I really counted the best, but if it was anyone, it's probably the default answer is Zen. So.
That does make sense. That does make sense. But the Zenyatta with no movement abilities and whatnot. But yeah, Mr. Qualman, congratulations on the 3-0 victory over the University of Delaware. We want to thank you for coming on in and giving us a minute of your time after the game.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me.
Not a problem. Not a problem. This has been the, week number 9, so the first technical week of our spring split for the EGFC. And again, University of Delaware falling to St. John's 3-0. Now, Jag, do we have anything else for the good people?
I just gotta say, the St. John's squad, they showed up tonight, and I don't want to sound like a broken record because for those who watched Rocket League last night, I said this about UConn, but here, St. John's, I really think they could be a dark horse. They have shown the most progression out of any team I've seen so far here in our Overwatch division. So just keep watching them. I really want to see how they do against the top teams. I think, this is a team that's now 3-6. I think they could run the table, have I don't know. I don't know if they can go undefeated in this split, but I think their record is going to be positive by the end of it.
I would 100% agree with that. And if it holds true from esport to esport, nothing wrong with saying, in my opinion. But with that, I do believe, Jag, we have reached my least favorite part of any broadcast, and of course, is the end. I'm FBI Tugboat. I have enjoyed this cast, and my man Jag over Did it again. Jag over here, the camera's backwards, and we have Juke over there producing away and making our jobs as casters just so much easier. We do appreciate it. And if you're not following the page, definitely need to do that. Catch yourself some more awesome collegiate esport action from Rocket League over there on your Wednesdays, Overwatch on Thursdays, some League of Legends sprinkled in, and some Super Smash Brothers to start off the week. Can't ask for anything better here for the EGFC. We want to thank you guys for watching and sign off for today. Have a good night and tune in again.